Genesis chapter 1, verses 14 to 16. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. There are only about 5,000 stars that can be seen with the naked eye, and only half of them at one time, because the rest are underneath the horizon. Now, it depends on the book that you turn to, I suppose, but I recall reading quite a number of years ago an estimate of the number of stars in the universe. I remember it because I thought it was quite easy to remember. By the best estimates at the time, there are at least 100 billion stars in our galaxy. That's the Milky Way galaxy. And there are at least 100 billion galaxies in the entire universe. Now, multiplying those two numbers together gives an approximation of the number of stars, and it is a huge number. 1 followed by 22 zeros. That's 10 sextillion. And although the psalmist reminds us that he telleth that as he counts the number of the stars, he calleth them all by their names, Psalm 147. The creation of all those stars, minus the sun, is covered in these 5 words. He made the stars also. Verse 16. Now, don't lose the import of those words. The universe is gigantic, mind-bogglingly so. That teaches us about the majestic greatness of our God. Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. Psalm 48. It seems barely sufficient to do any kind of justice to his grandeur. But what I find a greater wonder is that if God passes over the vastness of the cosmos in 5 words, but devotes these chapters to the creation of the world, it tells us much about where God's interest lies. When the psalmist wrote those words, What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man that thou visitest him, Psalm 8, he was bringing before us both the lowly insignificance of man in the cosmos, and at the same time the remarkable significance of man in the purposes of God, that God would visit him. Tremendous. But above the stars, God created these 2 great lights, the sun and the moon, and mentions briefly a number of fundamental astronomical principles about them in these verses. God says of the sun and the moon, Let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Verse 14. It is the appearance of the sun and moon at certain times that can give us indications of coming weather, red sky at night and all that. It is the tilt of the earth and its orientation to the sun that gives us seasons. It is the rotation of the earth that gives us days, and it is the orbit of the earth around the sun that gives us years. God made a creation that works in harmony for the benefit of mankind. But God draws special attention to the 2 great lights, verse 16. And tomorrow we will consider the function that God intended for them in his wonderful creation.